pleasure to have you all here today for the Ocean V4 production launch. It's a big day for us. It's been a long time coming as we've gone through V1, V2, V3, and now V4. With that, I'm just going to dive right into a short presentation about what V4 is about. And that's the Canadian about. After that, we will have a demo. So let's just get into this. I will share here. Loading. Okay. So Ocean V4, OceanONDA. Ocean V4 has 3 critical new features: solve rug pulls, data NFTs, and community monetization. And I will drill into each of these as well as give some more information. So first of all, solve rug pulls. This was based on a problem that we saw when we released Ocean V3 more than a year ago. We saw a problem where whenever someone published a data asset, they would become data token whales. There are ERC20 data tokens for every single data asset you publish, and they would get all the tokens. The thing that happened here is that now and then, say 1 in 100 actors would be malicious and they would rug pull because they had all these tokens and they would put those tokens into the pool and they would pull it later. So for our V4, we asked, what can we do to address this? And this was actually very important to us because we want everyone to have a feeling of safety when they are staking, but also we're very enthusiastic about shipping data farming, which we've been talking about for a long time, which is Ocean. It's like liquidity mining in DeFi, but tuned for optimizing for consume volume. Yes, sir.
Trent, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but yeah. I know you have this cool presentation, but we cannot see it.
You can't?
No.
Really? Oh, interesting. Okay. Let's try this again. Yeah. Okay. I actually hadn't gone into any pretty slides yet anyway, so I'll thank you, everyone. Can you see this?
Yeah, now it's visible.
Okay, cool. Great. So yes, Ocean V4. And so those of you who don't know, this is a Solarpunk image. Solarpunk is, there's cypherpunk and there's other punks, but Solarpunk is optimistic sci-fi visual. And we're optimists, but also, realists and builders. So Ocean V4. So yeah, once again, solve rug pulls, data NFTs, community monetize. So I talked about this challenge of solve rug pulls that we had, the challenge of rug pulls that we had with V3. So for V4, we have solved it. And the main idea is the following: one-sided staking. What does that mean? Well, this is both a picture and a literal metaphor. This pool here is a data token pool that holds Ocean and data tokens. Now, with V3, when you staked under the hood, if you staked Ocean, it would actually have to buy data tokens, and that would drive the price, etc. But it made it, cheaper, etc., for the publisher to publish because they own data tokens. With V4, how it works is you can only stake directly with Ocean, stake and unstake. When you stake with Ocean, there's a robot inside that pool that will automatically mint data tokens to keep the price the same. So the price of the data token does not go up. You can stake all you want. When you unstake, you will get your Ocean out, and equivalent data tokens will be burned such that the price stays the same. So to summarize, one-sided staking solves rug pulls because when you stake in, you can only stake in and out with Ocean. As well, actually related to this, so the publisher no longer gets the initial data token supply. Rather, it is under control of this robot here, right? As a small detail, if you want, you don't have to use a pool, and then you can control the supply of data tokens yourself. But if you want to use an Ocean pool that's exposed in Ocean market, etc., then this is how it works. So one-sided staking solves rug pulls. And of course, with that, then we can proceed aggressively with data farming. Okay, that's the first feature. The second is data NFTs. And what is data NFTs? Well, the basic idea is with Ocean V3, we had it where you published a data asset and you implicitly claimed that you had the copyright, the exclusive rights to that. Think of it like the master tape, if in music, right? In music, let's say you're Michael Jackson, you record Thriller into a master tape, and then that might be, you might give that full license, exclusive license to Universal Music as Michael Jackson, and then Universal Music might go and manufacture a million CDs. Or back in the day, I guess it would have been tapes in the 80s, and these days we're beyond CDs, but each CD is a license to consume. So Ocean Data NFTs, so for V3, we implicitly had the copyright, the master tape, and then a CD was an ERC20 data token. For V4, we are explicitly representing the copyright, the base IP, the master tape as an NFT. So when you publish a data asset on Ocean Market or at a lower level on the smart contracts, you are claiming copyright or exclusive license to that data asset. And then from that, you can then go and create ERC20 licenses against that, where it's, a license to consume, etc. And just like V3, an ERC20 data token, if you have 1.0 of them, then you have the right to consume that data asset. So, V3 implicitly represented copyright. V4 makes it explicit with data NFTs. So master tapes. So that's the basic idea of data NFTs. Now, one cool thing is, because NFTs have taken off in the last year, then we can take advantage of all the interoperability and tools that have been developed around NFTs. It's really grown in the last year. For example, this is an Ocean data NFT on OpenSea, the leading NFT marketplace out there. And so when you publish a data asset, you've basically got OpenSea to interoperate with it as an example. As well, any crypto wallet that supports NFTs will also hold your, it can also manage your Ocean data NFTs as well. So that's pretty cool, right? Just like when we did ERC20 data tokens, because they are ERC20, we had all this excellent interoperability with everything that handles ERC20. DAOs became data DAOs. MetaMask became a crypto wallet. Trezor became a hardware data wallet, et cetera, and Balancer became a data exchange. Same thing for NFTs now, for the specific meaning, right? So now OpenSea is a data NFT marketplace. In addition to, of course, Ocean, in addition to any other NFT marketplace, you can use that to buy and sell data NFTs themselves. And MetaMask and other wallets that support NFTs now are also managers of data NFTs, et cetera. So we're quite excited by that. Now, it turns out that as we were building data NFTs, we built a special feature. We built in support for something called ERC 725Y. What this is an arbitrary key value store. And you might think, well, what's that, right? It sounds kind of, techno jumbly. Well, there's a large class of databases that power half the internet. These are the document stores, the MongoDBs of the world. And these are used at scale by the likes of Facebook, Google, et cetera. And they're very simple. It's basically JSON blobs. It's these nested, key value stores. It can be key value pair, but you can also nest it. And so with that, you can do lots of stuff. And it turns out that by adding on support for ERC 725 to our data NFTs, we get every single data NFT becomes a key value store and gets all the flexibility and power that you see inside the likes of MongoDB and other document stores. So, for example, it can be used for comments and ratings. This is a screenshot from a prototype by a collaborator in the Ocean ecosystem, Rajiv Joshi and his team, who got an Ocean DAO grant to work on comments and ratings in Ocean Market. And the question was, should the data be on-chain or off-chain? So if the data is on-chain, the benefit is, you've got all this data availability. If you've got data off-chain, then you don't have data availability, but as easy. Of course, you can still use Ocean and stuff, and actually Ocean is really good at that for off-chain data. But for things like comments and ratings, it's very nice to have it on-chain and convenient. So data NFTs are very useful for that. As well, maybe many of you have heard about these soul-bound tokens published by a fairly, already famous paper a few weeks ago by Glenn Whale, Pooja, and Vitalik. And they talk basically about using NFTs that you can't transfer to store identity data, such as profile data for a web app or other information. The supercritical information should never go on chain, but something like a web app, if you have it encrypted, then it can be fine. So Ocean Data NFTs will allow you to do this out of the box. And in our OceanPi repo, we have an example of that, which is basically an implementation of a soul-bound token. So we're pretty excited. Data NFTs can be used for comments and ratings, which, because they're digitally signed, you can also view as someone putting their stamp of approval on something. So giving a comment with a digital signature is a verifiable claim. So we're supporting verifiable claims with data NFTs, and you can have trees of these, right? Comments of comments pointing to verifiable claims, all that. You can use, and also, use these for soul-bound tokens, profile app data, and many more things. So we're pretty excited. Data NFTs as a baseline, they're useful as master tapes, and that's how Ocean Market uses them directly. But if you want to use Ocean under the hood and for other applications, such as comments, ratings, etc., then they are there for use. Okay, third new feature, third of three that we're excited about. It's about helping the community to monetize further. So with Ocean V3, we made a point of making Ocean V3 really simple. So we had it where if you're a marketplace, you get 0.1% of every consume. And that's it. It's hard-coded. That's it. But what we discovered is with V3 being released, there was about 100x more 100x more volume of swap compared to consume. So there's a lot of people buying and selling, investing, etc., in data assets, and we realized that was really useful in order to have this market of data assets born. It was a prerequisite for discovery of data assets. So that's basically what we discovered. So there's a lot of swap volume, and this is like ETH or other things too, right? If you look at the amount of money people spend on gas in ETH for a given day, it's about 1/100th the amount that people trade ETH on exchanges, etc. So same thing here. So when it comes time to community monetize, what that means is we want to make sure, we want to see data marketplaces get strong. Our vision is 1,000 data marketplaces throughout the world, coming in all various shapes and sizes. So how do we do that? Well, let's give more power and flexibility to data marketplaces, including, critically, a means for each marketplace to take a cut from swap. And that's what this is showing. So inside a pool where someone might be swapping Ocean for data tokens, this is where we saw 100x more volume compared to consume. So let's make sure that the marketplace gets a cut of that. So, all else being equal, that's 100x more revenue to the marketplace. Also, instead of hard coding the marketplace revenue to 0.1% fees, the marketplace themselves can set the fee. They can set it to 0.1%, 1%, 5%, whatever, right? So let's say they set it to 1%, that's 10x higher than before. So now we've got marketplaces where you can have 100x from swap plus another 10x from higher fees that are still reasonable. So we really see that V4 helps marketplaces to monetize a lot more than V3, 1000x, right? So we're very excited about that. I don't have a slide here, but we do also have another key thing related to community monetize, which is with providers. So a provider is a piece of software, middleware software that Ocean has, Ocean Provider, that does handshaking when someone goes to consume a data asset, off-chain or otherwise. This provider middleware says, okay, I'll take your 1.0 data tokens, and here's the URL to the data set decrypted, or here is the compute. So the provider itself can do compute using Ocean Compute to Data, which compute to data, for everyone to remember, it's a key Ocean feature from Ocean V2, where people can sell data while retaining privacy and control of that data. So we've had that since V2, had it in V3 with Ocean Market. We have it for V4, including an Ocean Market. What we have special for V4 is that rather than saying you have to run your own provider if you want privacy and control, you can actually have some close collaborator that you work with to run that. It might be, a company that you've worked with for 10 years. If you decide you want to trust AWS or someone else, you can have that running, but it can be run by a friendly collaborator. And it also opens the door to decentralized providers, the likes of iExec, Golem, Filecoin, Bacalhau project, etc. So basically, the summary here is that as of V4, Ocean providers can charge a fee. This means that a market can emerge for Ocean providers doing compute in the Ocean ecosystem. So those are the two big changes with respect to community monetize in V4. We have marketplaces that can take swaps and set higher fees, all else being equal, leading to 1,000x more revenue. And the second thing is that providers can charge a fee. And this can, we hope, will lead to a marketplace of providers, including leveraging other Web3 compute technologies. There's a bunch more flexibility on fees in general, but those are the two highlights. A couple more things. So many of you might have seen, we had a blog post that came out last week, specifically for the V3 users, an airdrop. And thank you everyone who participated in and used Ocean V3 as a publisher, as a staker, etc. Some of you got burned by these rug pullers. We feel for you, and we decided as a thank you to being part of Ocean ecosystem and trying this out, to do an airdrop of the following form. And this is a summary. The full details are in the blog post from last week. The people who were staking in V3 pools, anyone that got a loss, for example, from rug pulls, will get an airdrop to compensate. That's pretty big news. And this is our way of saying thank you. And anyone who has staked anything at all will get at least 100 Ocean. However, well, not a however, just a key thing, it's bolded here. We would like to make it easy to migrate any liquidity that is sitting there to basically, migration is basically a lock and then an airdrop after. But if you want to get a 10% bonus on that Ocean you have staked, then you need to lock your pool stakes by June 15th. So, so you got a bit of time, but not a lot. So that's the summary for people who have been staking in Ocean V3 pools. If you are holding some data tokens in your wallet, then you will be getting an airdrop at the current data tokens value, plus a bonus of 50%. So thank you. This is our thank you here. Finally, for every we've published an airdrop of 1,000 Ocean. That's for any data sets published in ETH mainnet, and 500 Ocean for the other chains. And this is just acknowledging that ETH mainnet has high gas fees, right? So that's it. So this is the airdrop. Thank you everyone once again for being part of Ocean V3 who participated. And let's now focus on V4. You can also ask what's next, kind of beyond. And there's two things. Ocean DAO round 8, the voting is soon. So thank you everyone who has been submitting proposals for Ocean DAO. We're now in 18 rounds, right? It's time flies. Those are monthly rounds, of course, with grants going to the community. Secondly, data farming. Like I mentioned earlier in my talk, data farming is an incentive program to incentivize for data consume volume. You can think of it a bit like liquidity mining that we see in DeFi, but instead of optimizing for liquidity, it's optimizing for high quality data sets, where quality of a data set, the proxy for that is how much is that data set being bought and consumed, key thing consumed. So stay tuned for data farming. Yeah, we hope to give you some nice surprises very soon on that. And I have a call to action here, but we will have a follow-up from the other speakers. Go check out market.oceanprotocol.com. And with that, that concludes my talk with Ocean V4. Thank you very much. And I will now hand off to the next speaker. So let's see here. I'll stop screen sharing. And yes, so handing it over. Thank you again, everyone.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Anna from the Ocean Protocol team. Thanks, Trent, for the overview. Of course, as you heard, OceanONDA V4 is a super complex product that solves the issues we previously faced and also brings a lot of new functionalities to unlock a new data economy. All right, so I think everybody wants to see some of our new features, so I'll jump straight into that. Let me share my screen. All right. My screen should be visible now. All right, great. So here you're going to see the market. As far as the market interface is concerned, we tried to keep it as simple as possible. You know, super complex backend, easy and intuitive to use user interface. Everything you see on the market, on the UI, is constructed, of course, from what is on chain and the network that you're connected to. Speaking of networks, I want to mention briefly here that OceanONDA V4 is deployed on 5 mainnets, which are the Ethereum mainnet, the Polygon, Binance Smart Chain, Energy Web Chain, and Moonriver. Of course, if you want to familiarize yourself with the features and functionalities of the market, we highly suggest to use a testnet. We are on Robston, Rinkaby, Mumbai, and Moonbase. You can select and deselect here the networks that you see. So you'll see here that I have some data assets published on Energy Web Chain, Polygon, Ethereum, Moonriver, and so on. I'll not show the test assets right now because yeah, we did a bunch of tests there. All right, so right now I'm just gonna go and jump trying to scratch the surface of some user flows. First of all, I'm gonna go through the publish flow, which we redesigned for V4. So I'm gonna go to publish. All right, so first thing first, making sure you're connected to the right network. I'm gonna publish an asset on Polygon. Of course, I'm going to use MetaMask to do that. And I'll need to make sure that I have some moceans for the Polygon network and also some Matics for the gas fees. All right, for the publish. First thing first that you'll notice here is that we have a wizard type of collecting the data for publishers to post new data assets. The first thing that you're gonna see different here is about the data NFT. As Trent mentioned, with Ocean V3, we introduced ERC20 data tokens where spending one data token gives a license to consume the related data set. OceanONDA V4 adds to this with ERC721 data NFTs, which are the copyright or exclusive license against copyright for a data asset on the blockchain, ensuring basically infinite flexibility in the data IP management. We call this the base IP, which is intellectual property. So here we have an SVG generator, which is generating images. You can jump ahead and you refresh this image that is going to be associated with your data asset and choose whatever you want. All right. Moving forward on the asset type, we have 2 types that you can publish. We have the data set and the algorithm. The algorithm is for the compute to data. On this example particularly, I'm just going to go with the data set. Next, we need to fill in some information for the data set. I have a data set ready here, so I'll just copy paste some information. I'm going to publish a data set related to anchorages. So I filled in the title and now the description. One thing to mention here is that the description supports markdown format. So I'll have a nice description here where I will include some information related to this data set. So buyers, when they will scratch the market, they will search data assets on the market to see what kind of data assets they want to buy. They have some useful information here. like the data schema of that file that I'm uploading and some information related to the data that is there. All right, moving forward, we'll need to fill in the author name. I'm just gonna be Jelly McJellyfish today. And the tags are a super useful feature. So basically this enables better search. You can add here some keywords of your data set, which will help potential buyers and potential people that are searching for that kind of data to identify easily your data set. All right, so I'll just need to agree and just hit continue. All right, on the second step of this, we have here the data token name. For a given data NFT, you can have an ERC20 data token contract. The main idea, one data token allows you to consume the corresponding data asset. So basically, it's a sub-license for the base IP to be able to use the data set according to the license terms. The name of the data asset doesn't matter too much, but you're free to go and choose whatever you want. You can refresh here and pick one that suits your needs. I'm just gonna go with this one, passionate. Sounds good. All right, the access type is one of the two, the download and compute. Compute, of course, refers to the compute data functionality. And I'm just gonna go with the simple one with the download. The provider URL information that is here. So the provider is the proxy that actually encrypts all the data URL and all the metadata on chain. As Trent mentioned earlier, we can have third-party providers. If you need, you can put your own here. You just need to tap on the X button and fill in your own URL. I'll not do it right now because I'm okay with the default provider. All right, moving forward, we'll need to provide the file, the URL to access the file. One thing to mention here is that Ocean doesn't provide storage. It only stores the encrypted URL to access the data set. This I will copy paste right now. So I have a file hosted. So I'll copy paste here the file that I want to upload and click validate. All right, this will confirm if the URL is actually accessible. You need to make sure that you provide all the permissions necessary for the file to be accessible. It also recognizes the file size and also the fact that it is a CSV file. Nobody will ever get access to the URL directly. When they purchase your asset via, when they purchase the access to your asset via a data token, the data is streamed directly to them. So this is the only time this URL is visible when publishing. All right, moving forward, we can provide here a sample file. This is an optional field, but this is super useful to do because it gives your buyer a sample of the data they want to purchase. So if they are not decided if the data set that you're providing is useful or not for their use cases or for what they want to do, maybe to run some algorithms or something like that via the computer data functionality feature, you can provide a sample file here with some like 2 or 3 entries. That's interesting. Let me try this again. All right, it worked. Probably I copy pasted the wrong URL. Right, so it gives, I was saying that it gives the buyers some sample for the data that you're providing. All right, the next field is the timeout field, which basically is saying how long someone will have access to your data set after they initially purchase it. So if you plan not to update your dataset never, for instance, you can choose the forever. If you plan to update your dataset frequently, you can use one of the other options. We have forever, 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, and so on. For this particular case, I will just go with 1 week and just hit continue. And we reached right now on the third phase of the pricing. So for the pricing, we have 3 options. I'll go through all of them and briefly mention. So we have the fixed price, which is as simple as it sounds. We set a fixed price in Ocean tokens, and that is the amount that someone will need to pay to get access to your data. We have the dynamic pricing, which is a bit more complex because it involves creating a pool and the price is set using an automated market maker. So the price is actually able to fluctuate in accordance to the demand. For the free price is there is no price actually associated to this. So you're giving the data for free. This is the case, for instance, with open data or whatever data you want to share for free. The only mention here is that the gas fees to access the data set will still need to be paid by the persons that are the users that are getting the data set. So right now, in my particular use case, I'll go with the dynamic pricing. And you can set here the initial price, an expected initial price. I will go with 5 oceans. You'll have here the expected first price and also the conversion to euros. Of course, just as a note, you can set the conversion currency to multiple options you'll have in the settings in the market. For the data token liquidity pool, so as I mentioned, a pool is automatically created. Here, once I introduce 5 oceans as the initial price, the automated, the value that the number of oceans that I need to add to the data liquidity pool are automatically calculated. I can increase this to whatever number I want, but I cannot decrease them to lower than 500. So I'll just go with 500 right now. Oh, I dropped it. All right. So I'm just going to create a data asset that will cost initially around 5 ocean tokens, and in the initial pool, liquidity will be 501 oceans that I add here. One thing to mention here is about the fees. Trent briefly mentioned the fees. So we have the marketplace fee, which basically is a fee that would be sent to the people operating the marketplace, as in the ocean market is set to 0, but whoever forks the marketplace and deploys their own marketplace can configure another value here. The community swap fee, which will go to people who are contributing to the ocean ecosystem. These funds are distributed through the Ocean DAO. And the swap fee. So the swap fee for the liquidity providers. So liquidity providers earn this fee on all pool trades proportionally to their share of the pool. The fee is set by the creator of the pool and is used to incentivize liquidity providers to join the pool. So any transaction on the pool itself will incentivize the liquidity providers to add liquidity to this, and they will get a fee. So you can change this number to whatever you want. I think the limit is 10. Yeah, the limit is 10. I'll go right now with a 5% swap fee, and I'll just hit continue. All right, the preview page. We reached to the 4th step, which is the preview page. This is a new page that we introduced, which allows you to review the information that you entered. So I see here the title of the data asset that I just added. I see here the data token name, the data NFT image, the information that I added, the description, the sample data. I see that is there, the tags, everything is here. So this is how your data set will look like when it's published on the market. So everything looks good here. I'm just gonna hit continue. So we are at the last phase of submitting and creating submitting this data asset on chain. So here, if I start by submitting, some transactions will be fired through MetaMask. In the initial phase, we will have 2 transactions happening. Just a second. So as you're familiar with the blockchain world, I'm just gonna increase a little bit the gas fees. So I'm just gonna be aggressive, not to wait too much on the confirmation for these transactions. All right, so on the first phase, there are 2 transactions. The first one is start by creating the tokens and then the pricing. And then on the third one is, I have a MetaMask open here. So the second one opened here. Let me just confirm this one. All right. So the same, just for the sake of the demo, I'm just going to increase the gas fee so the transactions go faster. And I'm just going to go with the aggressive. All right. Let me confirm this one as well. This should complete the first step, and then we'll encrypt the video in the second step, and then on the last transaction. Yeah, unfortunately, I have an error here. The return values are invalid. Something happened. This is when you test on the production networks. I'll try once more. If not, if that's not going to work, I'm just going to show you how it looks like if the transactions are successful. I'm just going to go the same with the aggressive. I think I still have gas matic for the gas fee. Now, if anything is happening wrong, it's going to happen in the demo itself. Sorry for that. All right, I see here that I have a pop-up. Let me confirm this one as well. All right. That should work. Let's see if Polygon will accept my transaction right now and not fail. So I see here, of course, you'll see in the MetaMask all the transactions that are happening. You can speed up, but as I chose the option of aggressive, I shouldn't be doing that. So I'll just wait for a couple of more seconds, see if the transaction succeeds. No, unfortunately, there was an error with this transaction. I'm not sure what happened, but I published an asset this morning. And I'm just gonna show it to you. All right, so this is an asset that we published earlier. It's an asset for the global ocean waves height analysis. So you'll see that this is what it looks like once the transactions are signed and everything goes on chain well. Yeah, kind of. This is what it looks like. You have the metadata history here. You can access everything via Etherscan or Polygon scan, depending on the network that you're working on. So this is pretty much it on the publish flow that I wanted to show you. So right now I'll go and show some I have 3 more things that I wanted to show you, so I'll just jump ahead. So the second thing I wanted to show you is the purchase of data assets. All right, so to purchase a data asset, of course, you can use the search functionality to identify exactly the data asset that you'd like to buy. Right now, I'm just going to go with this one. Once you identify the data set that you want to purchase via the Ocean market, you'll need to access the Use tab, and you can see here the price is 1.009 oceans, which I have, and the timeout that this publisher set. So he set a timeout for 1 month. So if I'm buying this this data asset, I'm gonna have access to it for 1 month. So I'm just gonna click on the buy, which will fire 2 transactions. The first one is gonna be to approve, and on the second one is gonna be to actually send the Ocean tokens. Let me try right now to go with the market, maybe that will work. Right. So in this process, what is actually happening is that I'm buying a data token from the pool and then sending it to get access to the data asset. And I have a second MetaMask transaction here. As I mentioned, there are 2 transactions on the buy process. Let's see if in the end Polygon will help me. I'm going to change here the gas fee. I'm going to use the market. Of course, the network is busy. So I'll just confirm this transaction. And right now, the process is described here is approving and buying 1 data token, which is available here. Of course, you can add this data token to your wallet just by clicking this option. You'll have the option of adding that data token in your wallet and see the amount that you have. Right. All right, so I just approved that transaction. So now what is happening is that is ordering the asset, and it succeeded. Thank you, MetaMask. So right now I'm able to download this file just by clicking the download. I'll need just to sign that I'm the one who did these operations. So I'll just need to provide a signature request. That's weird. All right, if something bad is happening now. I tested this morning and it went just fine. Let me try to download it again. If that's not going to work, you'll have to trust me by my word that it works. But of course, with this blockchain interaction, sometimes it can be messy. That's why we highly suggest, in order to familiarize yourself with the features that we have, to use initially the test networks. There, the tokens don't actually have any value, so you can familiarize yourself. You can test our features and functionalities, and then switch on to use the production networks. All right, so unfortunately, something is happening here. We'll have to investigate what this is about, what that error is showing. All right, so that was for the purchase. Then for the liquidity, I wanted to show you a little bit on the liquidity. As mentioned, OceanONDA V4 solves rug pulls through this one-sided staking, where actually backend data token bots control the data token supply, thereby maintaining price stability. So to add liquidity, you'll need to search for the data set that you want to add liquidity to. On the Ocean market, you'll have categories. You have the highest liquidity, the recent published, and so on and so forth. So I'll go with the highest liquidity pool. So I'm just gonna try to add here on this one some liquidity. Let me switch initially my account because I'm with my own account that I published this asset this morning, and it's not going to be visible because I'm the owner and I already have liquidity here. So let me switch my MetaMask account. So I'm not going to use Jellyfish. I'm just going to use the Jellyfish. All right. So you see that this tab was updated because I connected a different wallet address. So here you can see that my liquidity to this pool is right now 0%. The owner liquidity is 500 Ocean and the total value locked is 752. You see here the information on the pool statistic, the price. Of course, there isn't much to show as I just published this. We just published this asset a little bit earlier today. So I'm just going to tap on adding liquidity. So here you can specify the amount of oceans that you want to add to a certain liquidity. So for instance, I'll go with 100 oceans and I'll just need to approve. You'll see here the balance of my wallet and of course the maximum amount that you can add to a certain pool. So I'm just going to approve 100 ocean. Which will fire two transactions. The first one is an approval for the smart contracts to move the funds. Let me see here if that will work. If that doesn't work as well, I'll just switch on to Liquidity. Right, so right now M-Oceans are, the process is approving for the smart contracts to move the funds, and the second one is actually to supply. Yeah, the supply. Now I'm supplying to the pool the 100 oceans that I just approved to be used. So probably Polygon has some problems today, as far as I can tell. Oh, and that was successful. Thank you. So right now you can see that I've successfully added 100 oceans to the pool. You'll see here the message. Of course, you can see the transaction on Polygon scan. You'll have the transaction here where you'll see the details. It takes a while for it to be updated, of course. And you'll see here the information. If I go back to the pool, you'll see here that I've added 100 oceans. And that means like approximately 11% of the pool. And the price, because it's automatically created, it increased a little bit. All right, so this is on the adding liquidity to a certain pool. And now the last feature I want to show you is the swapping. So you can swap Ocean tokens for data tokens. The process is similar to using other decentralized exchanges. The swap happens on the asset detail page. That is because the data tokens give access to a specific asset. So the process is similar to adding liquidity. You'll just need to find the right asset where you want to buy a data token, I'll just use this one, and we'll need to go to the trade tab. Here, you'll see your balance. Right now, I have 400 oceans in my wallet, and this is the data token. So if I want to buy one data token for this pool, I'll just tap on one. The price in MOcean will be automatically calculated. And you have here the swap fee information that the publisher created. When the publisher published this data asset set to 0.003%. And you'll have here the price impact. You also have a slippage tolerance if the amount you're willing to tolerate. If the slippage is beyond this amount, the transaction will be reverted. So you can choose between multiple values, 5, 10, 15. I'll just go with the 5%. I will not allow a slippage greater than this one. So I'll just need to approve the transaction. This, again, starts 2 transactions. The first one being for approval. And the second transaction will be to send our Ocean tokens and complete the swap. I want to see that I have the data token in my wallet because I'm actually buying ground right now. So let me see. I'm connected to the jellyfish. That's right. So I'll just need to click this one more time. I'm going to update again the fees, the gas fees. And right now, the process is approving. And in the meantime, I'm just going to add this data token to my wallet by clicking on this one. I want to be visible in MetaMask that, so I'm adding the token to my MetaMask so I can see it. And now all we need to do is tap on swap, send the tokens, and then the process is done. Right? Right. I'll just confirm the transaction now. And right now it's swapping the tokens. I'll just wait for confirmation if the transaction is successful. Okay, so I successfully swapped MOcean for data tokens. And now, because I added that data token into my wallet, I'll see here that actually I own a data token for this data set. All right, so you can view the transactions also on Etherscan, how much you spend on everything. That's about it. This is what I wanted to show you today. Unfortunately, some of the things didn't work. This can happen sometimes. Of course, transaction will fail. We all encounter this. So right now, I'll pass it on to Alex.
All right, thank you. Just to double down on what Trent has said earlier, I'm just going to show you a small trick. So let me know if you can see the market. I hope so. So by clicking on an asset, you're going to find a small tooltip. And it says view on OpenSea. So if you want to sell your NFT, you can do it by one click. And what is even cooler than that is that the new owner of the NFT, it's going to get payments every time this asset is either downloaded or used in a compute job. So it's not holding a JPEG anymore. it's an investment. So hopefully you are going to like it. All right, we have a lot of questions today, so maybe I'm going to start answering on the first question. It's coming from Cosmin. Will projects like Eccentric formally launch after V4 announcement? Well, I don't want to speak for Daimler, but as you know, our GitHub repos are public. So if you are going to take a look, you are going to find a bunch of issues, PRs done by Daimler. So I would say we are working very closely together. But it's not only Daimler. Expect a few other projects in the coming weeks. And Trent, I think you have the next question.
All right, yes. This is a question from R.L. Luco. I'll quote it. Good morning. Given the launch of ONDA V4, I wanted to ask the importance of this update in relation to the European vision on sharing data in a transparent and secure way. It will be a remarkable showcase to make people understand the real use case and the concrete realization of what they were discussing in European Parliament. Thanks. So thank you. We agree that we think that the values that Europe has been promoting around safe and secure sharing of data, we are fully in line with that. And kind of this has been part of the mission all along with Ocean. When Gaia-X was announced as a European-wide data initiative over 2 years ago, we were a day one member as part of BigChainDB, the company that launched Ocean, and have been involved with Gaia-X ever since in both the main Gaia-X aspect as well as with several spokes of Gaia-X, such as Katina-X, along with our collaborators at Delta Do and otherwise. So, we're excited to keep engaging at that level. One other really interesting thing that's new with V4 is GDPR and metadata. So with V4, there's any time you have metadata that's on chain, you have a challenge. If it's on chain, it's nice in that the data is very available. But a challenge is GDPR. If someone comes and wants right to be forgotten, which is a rule of GDPR, the European data protection rules, then how do you go about deleting the data if it's on chain, right? The chain is supposed to be immutable. And so the answer that V4 brings is where by default, when you publish a data asset, it will publish that data encrypted on chain for the metadata. I mean, the metadata goes encrypted on chain, and then the symmetric key to decrypt that data is shared with marketplaces to render such that people browsing the marketplace see it plain text. So this kind of lets us have the best of both. We get to have really great on-chain data availability, yet at the same time, we reconcile the constraints of European data protection rules. So, as far as we know, this is the only example like this out there in blockchain land that does this, and we're quite proud of it. So we solved a lot of little things like that over time in V4. And yeah, that's an example. So with that, let's see here. I guess the next question is for myself as well. So I'll answer this. This is from Manuel Jenny. I'll quote, so OceanONDA V4 is just around the corner. And my question is, what does the team expect from the launch, the devs, the founders? Are you going to expect now the real adoption of Ocean? So in Ocean overall, we publish an annual update of sort of what we're working on. And the focus for the last couple of years has always been around traction. And with traction, we have the framing of, there's a whole bunch of different ideas, hypotheses about how to get traction. And we group these, there's dozens of ideas. We group these into top-down, bottom-up, and DeFi. Top-down is, engaging with the Gaia-X's of the world and enterprises. Bottom-up is making really great tools that can be used by startups, developers, etc., to build really cool things. Making great docs for that and helping them to feed themselves as they chase it via grants. So we've done a lot there. And in the bottom up, right, in terms of traction, OceanDAO has had more than 200 grants given out. And we've seen, more than a couple dozen strong teams emerge in the Ocean ecosystem in the last year. And it's something, we're proud of to help catalyze, and, proud of the overall ecosystem that has emerged. So there's a lot happening. Show up at the town hall later, and it's a good example with OceanDAO. And that said, and then for DeFi, if there's one vertical that you had a pick that had the sort of dollars flowing, the value that you have from top down, the Daimlers of the world, yet has the speed and low latency of Web3, then DeFi is probably at the top of that list, right? NFTs have come on strong. Ocean is well suited to both, but and there's more coming on strong after that, right? With as Web3 is touching more and more verticals, DeFi, NFTs, especially for digital art and PFPs, and now we're starting to see the rise of GameFi and DAOs and many other verticals that are natural native Web3, and to us that's very exciting. So overall, we see that Ocean is getting great traction already via Ocean DAO, etc. We see that V4 is a refinement of a lot of the things in V3, as well as an unlock, right? The solving rug pulls allows us to do data farming to help, catalyze that way using another, tool from the DeFi playbook. Okay, next question. The question is from Cosmin at Get Bogged Down. How confident are you in the Ocean Bounty program? Now, there's actually, that can be interpreted in 3 different ways. One is with security, the bug bounties, and I will defer to Alex. There's a later question on security there. There's also a data bounty program coming out soon, and we will be releasing information on that soon, so stay tuned. And finally, there is incentives around data from the data farming perspective, and with that as well, stay tuned. Let's see. The next one is let's see here. This is from RL Luco again. What are the main projects of decentralized science in which Ocean is involved? And a follow-up, what does it take to become the protocols leader in health and data science management? So there's quite a few projects going for decentralized science and health within Ocean. Probably among the more prominent ones that have been part of the Ocean ecosystem a long time include Algovera, which are doing a lot of data science as well as science applications. Abscientia, which is people that come from the neuroscience domain and are focusing on a lot of data science things too, as well as decentralized science. Both the Abscientia team and Algovera team have really engaged deeply with the community on that. There's the Links team, which is also working in neuroscience, and many, many more too. So you can, if you like, you can go to oceanpearl.io, and it's it's a project in the Ocean ecosystem to explore the various Ocean projects. So you'll be able to see the 200 plus projects there to see what's going on, which is, we're really proud of the Ocean Pearl guys and what they have done. For the second question, to become a leader, start building is the main thing, and then just iterate towards traction, solve real problems, etc. So, we are still in early days in Ocean in some ways. We haven't had, we still have yet overall for Web3 to have massive impact in the world, and that includes Ocean itself, right? So everyone sees the promise, and we're getting there bit by bit. So that means you have great opportunities still. So with that, I pass to Alex.
All right, thank you, Trent. Next question is coming from Inside Cradle. In connection with the release of Data NFT, are there plans to integrate with other NFT sites, or will everything be presented at the Ocean site? Since we are using standard REC 721 templates, this means that any NFT capable wallet, dApp, backend component can interact with Ocean. So definitely it's not going to be only our market. The second question, what will be the income of the owner of Data NFT depend on? It's going to depend on usage. So if you are going to have consumes on your data sets, you are going to get data tokens. For instance, if you are going to publish a data set using the dynamic pricing schema, you are going to get 1.0 DT minus some fees every time somebody is going to consume your data set. If you are going to use the fixed rate pricing schema, and let's say that you are going to price your data token to, let's say, 10 Ocean tokens, every time somebody is going to download your data set, you are going to get 10 Ocean tokens minus some extra fees. Okay, Trent, next question.
Yes. Yeah, sounds good. So this is VAR. Question is, in regard to World Oceans Day, what can Ocean Protocol specifically do with data to help clean and sustain the ocean? So I'm going to reframe this in what can using Ocean Protocol specifically do, because we at Ocean Protocol Foundation are building a core and a technology for you, the builders, the developers, the entrepreneurs, to go and apply this to the last miles, right, to the ocean, etc. So on the ocean itself, well, I'll just go more generally on climate and weather to start with. We're following a lot of activities around that quite closely, and deeply involved in the Sovereign Nature Initiative community, which is something that we helped to catalyze over the last number of years. And now there's hackathons and conferences, etc. And within that, we've been helping to sponsor prizes there. And it turns out that on the order of a third to half of the teams are building with ocean for nature and climate data. And some of this itself is ocean data. So basically, if you're trying to improve the climate, you have to measure what's there and to see what to improve and if you're making an impact, et cetera. So solving data well with respect to climate change really helps overall solutions on climate change. And so ocean is a big part of this. So measuring marine biodiversity, all of this. And we've been finding ourselves in conversations with entrepreneurs around exactly those things. So we see that ocean itself is going to be very, very helpful for helping on climate, including for the completely free data, right? Ocean, the backend is for data sharing, whether it's free or priced data, right? Ocean Market highlights the priced side, but you can fork it and then only have the free stuff if you want, and then you have a data sharing platform, right? And you can have computed data for computing on private data, or you can just leverage the fact that data that goes into the platform, even if it's fully open, which a lot of the climate data is, then you've still got the provenance of where that data came from, the compute on it, etc. So we're quite excited by a lot of applications that are purely about open data, whether it's for science, whether it's science for climate and oceans, all of the above. So yeah. I think that's, we're very excited to see ocean having an impact in ocean. And then, to follow up too, there's another question from Saswat of Audio Lab. Happy Oceans Day. As this is the year of adoption for Ocean Protocol, can you please highlight some of the industries that would be early adopters of Ocean Protocol? So I guess I've hinted at some of these already. We see that DeFi is a big one. We have things that are very DeFi adjacent already. Even with B3, people are using Ocean to help figure out which assets to invest in, to stake in, etc. And data sets since then, right? Like Meta Game Hub for real estate in Metaverse as a good example of data sets. And so we see that there's going to be more of that, as well as if you think about if you're trying to do trading or yield chasing more generally, this is all about data. The more data you have, the more accurate model you have, the more you can optimize towards profit, et cetera. And we see that as a very nice use case as DeFi is growing, and then the benefits from this will spill over to other industries. We see that a lot of the other industries, it's not D-game, it's GameFi. So a lot of the tools of DeFi are spilling over into other verticals and niches. We are very excited overall then, for DataFi that way. Besides that, I mentioned climate is near the top of the list, especially for the open data side. And then there's lots of other great cases too. Medical we see as, having a great potential impact, but there's going to be a high lag in that simply because there's the sensitivity of data. So it's, the sort of thing that can take 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, 3 years to really crack and do a good job. And, we're excited to see how the community goes about, getting traction in the various ways there. So those are some industries, the Web3 Fi stuff, especially DeFi, as well as climate and more. Yes, and I think now I will pass back to Alex.
Yeah, the next one is for me. Are V4 fees thoroughly tested? I'm going to expand it because I saw some other questions. Is V4 tested? We are doing that for the last, I would say, 4 months. And basically our flow is as follows. We have unit tests on the Ocean contracts app, on the smart contracts. Then all the upper libraries, OceanJS, OceanPy, are also testing the entire V4 stack. Tools, fees, consumption, etc. On top of that, we have a certic audit for our V4 smart contracts. And in the past, I would say 8 or 9 weeks, even more than that, we have an open bounty on Unify. Whoever is going to find a critical issue is going to get paid with $100,000. No critical issues reported in the last 9 weeks. So I think we are in a good shape. Trent, next one is yours.
All right. This is a question from Robin. Hi, Robin. Data NFTs seem to be a step towards soul-bound NFTs as they allow customizable NFTs. I saw a tutorial on implementing parts of this on GitHub. Is the Ocean team going to pursue this further themselves, or is this more of an invitation to the ecosystem? So within the Ocean team right now, we are not pursuing this. Our focus is really the infrastructure to help enable the community to pursue these various things. We put that tutorial together. This is in the Ocean Pi repo. We put it there because we saw that by putting it there, it could probably save many teams weeks, maybe even months of effort just by having that as sort of like a first cut. And, we're quite excited about this. A week and a half ago at the DeSci conference in Berlin, I had a great chat with Pooja about all of this, and she was happy to see the implementation already. So that said, as part of catalyzing this, we're building the technology, but people within our team have also been helping to catalyze this, to teach the communities. And I'm going to have a shout out to Malta, who's been doing a great job. Malta from the Ocean team, Crypto Wally, who's been doing a great job in helping to hold the hand and show people the possibilities on soul-bound NFTs. Next question. Would we consider Ocean V4 ONDA the first version that is fully ready for adoption and the previous versions as beta? What's the strategy from the beginning on? So as a quick summary, you can view each of the 4 versions as the following. V1 solved non-custodial data managing. V2 solved privacy. V3 solved interoperability and via the data tokens, as well as automatic pricing. V4 basically is a refinement of V3 towards very specific challenges that we saw within the community. It's sort of like Uniswap going from its V2 to its V3. So, and that we, like the rug pulls, solving that was simply a refinement of, V3 in that way. And same thing with the other 2 things. But this really helps to unlock the community to build really great things on Ocean. So all along, the strategy has been traction. We needed to get good bones in place. We really had the basic bones in place by V3. That I personally view V3 as the first truly great version of Ocean, and V4 refined it. But it's always about these traction hypotheses that we want to pursue, do experiments on, and help the community to pursue and do experiments on towards traction, right? And this is where Ocean DAO is coming. This is where data farming is. All of these things. Next question from Jasva. How many people have worked on V4 are working for Ocean Protocol in general? So the core Ocean team is on the order of 20 people, mostly engineers. But we have people working with community, with PR, marketing, admin too. But overall, that's not what we view as a team in a sense, because we are a Web3 project. So the number to us that's really interesting and useful is how many teams are working on Ocean Protocol, and how successful are they getting? Are they getting strong? Can they build sustainable businesses, etc.? And like mentioned before, we've had more than 200 grants given out to a large number of teams, more than 100 teams. And of those, people keep coming back, right? So there's probably on the order of 20-25 teams that have been getting strong. Some of them, they stick around for a while and they leave, and that's okay. But we're very, very happy with the number of teams that have been building on Ocean, growing, and working with the core team towards the overall mission. So with that, it's probably on the order of if you count the total number of teams times the number of people, it's on the order of 200, 500, maybe more, right? It's hard to really measure, but that's just my gut guess. So let's see here. Next question is for Alex.
Yeah, it's coming from Luke. Can tell about monetization opportunities for community. Well, in V3, we only had one fee. In V4, I think we have like 5 fees. So as a publisher, you are going to get rewarded when somebody is going to consume your asset. As an LP to the pool, you are going to get rewards. If you are going to fork the market and you are going to publish assets, then you are going to get rewarded as well. If you are going to fork the market and you are going to display assets which are already published in the stack, and those assets are going to get consumed on your market, you are going to get rewarded. So maybe it's easier if I'm just going to paste a link in the chat, and you can do some more reading. But we have a lot of fees, and obviously the community is going to benefit from that. All right, let's see. Next question. It's coming from Kai. Hey, Kai, what is the next high priority feature you'd like to push on top of the new V4 stack? Connection to databases, streams, SSI, know your customer. I would say definitely in the short term, we are going to work on multiple data sources, especially decentralized data sources like Filecoin, Rwave, Storage, maybe IPFS. It's already pretty much supported, I would say 90%. And then we are going to go to some enterprise requests like databases, WebSockets, streaming data. Who knows, maybe somebody is going to build a Netflix on top of Ocean. Okay, next question is coming from Phil, and Trent, I think you have the answer.
Yes, which question were you on again, Alex?
26.
Thank you. Great. Okay. Quote, now with a ready-to-adopt data market, the supply infrastructure is in place. What is missing now is the toolkit for federated analytics and learning. How are we proceeding there? So overall, just for context, if you have, let's say you have a single individual person, right? You could try to sell your data, your location, but it's maybe not so interesting and it's going to be a lot of effort, right? So, ideally then you're having your data grouped together with, 100 people or 1,000 people or 1,000,000 people, right? Where then that aggregate of data is useful in many ways. And there is sort of a way to collect this together in a social fashion, which is via DAOs. And you can use off-the-shelf DAO technology like Colony or Aragon, whatever, where they're just collectively managing a wallet. And then within the Ocean ecosystem, there are teams that are tuning this to make this really nicely tuned for data, such as data union. So that's for some data. But if you want to actually have it where the data, where you're building an AI model on top of this data, or just doing simple analytics, for example, let's say you've got 100,000 people location. Maybe you just want to have a heat map overall because you don't want to go give individual locations, right? So you just have a heat map overall of people moving around that's kind of blurred and fuzzy that preserves privacy. That's sort of a view of analytics, sort of taking average, right? Or let's say you've got 10 hospitals or 100 hospitals that have data, and you want to build a model to say diagnose whether someone has skin cancer, right? And so how do you build a model across those different data sets? And this is where federated learning or federated analytics come in, where what it does is it runs a bit of compute right next to the data. And then, in the case of, say, an average, it just remembers the average and the number of data points, and then it merges that all together. In the case of a model, it will do a neural network weight update locally for each data set, and then merge them together in the end. So on the federated, and this is federated analytics for the simple stuff like averages, and then federated learning when you've got models across many silos, things like health. And on that front, there's a team in the Ocean ecosystem called Felt Token. They've been getting some Ocean DAO grants, and they're just doing, I see that they're doing an awesome job. I'm really proud of them in building, leveraging Ocean compute data at 2 levels, at the level of the silo where it's running compute data to do, compute the local average or do the weight update, as well as an overall aggregating using Ocean compute data to aggregate an average into a final average across the silos, or to have a final aggregated model. So take a look at Felt Token, and they're making great progress, and they're Ocean DAO grantees. Off to you, Alex.
Right, thank you, Trent. Next question is coming from Christian. What type of functionality would need to be developed to improve the description setting for published data assets? For example, proving where the data come from. Would this be easier for data assets created based off an existing data assets instead of ones that are first listed? Yeah, definitely. Computer data is one of those options because you can prove the how that data was created. One other thing that you can definitely do is to extend the DDO. If you're familiar with the DDO concept, well, you can add your own tags. You can add your own proofs or verifiable claims. Next question is coming from Moritz. Can the marketplace fee also be set by third-party applications like Alga that acts as a graphic interface of the marketplace? We are not a complete fork, but still encourage swaps and liquidity. Yes, definitely you can do that. All the fees are called when a smart contract method is called upon. So definitely you can add your own fees. That's the entire concept of publishing market fees and consume market fees.
And I want to add to this too. So on this,
Good.
right? So Alga, for example, Moritz, your wallet, can be viewed as a marketplace with built-in swap, right? Just like MetaMask. And we're very excited for that because it means that Alga has a really great way to monetize as a business. So yeah, thought I'd just add that.
And the final question for today, coming again from Moritz, it is possible to create an initial data token pricing with less than one Ocean token. Definitely it's possible at the smart contract level and at the backend level. Unfortunately, we are not going to support this in the market because it's pretty trickier from the US perspective. But yeah, definitely you can do it. All right. So thank you a lot for joining us. We have tried to answer. Oh, Trent, go ahead. Answer a final question.
Yeah. So yeah, you got your final question. I want my final.
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So from Robin, with the question is, with V4 out now, what can you tell us about your plans going forward? What will V5 be about? So within Ocean Protocol Foundation, there's a couple teams that are building products, right? That's a team that has built Ocean V4, which is the back end, front end. And Alex touched on kind of some of the near-term focus, which is helping to have integration into the likes of Arweave, Filecoin, et cetera. I'm working with the community on that, right? Because some community people have been also working on that, which is great. And at the same, with the Nile team, the team that I am helping to run, this is the team that's focusing on Ocean DAO, but also data farming and more things beyond VE Ocean and more. So this is all, public already, of course. The name of the game is traction. So all of the above are basically helping to chase these traction hypotheses. So the plans are to iterate rapidly, to experiment, to see what's working and what's not, and to especially, and finally, to help enable the community to be successful. And that to us is the greatest thing. Helping each of you as builders, as data publishers, etc., to make money and get sustainable in building your applications and publishing your data in staking and so on. So with that, I guess, yeah, we can wrap up here.
Well, we do have one more thing before we are going to wrap up. We are going to give away 3 NFTs today. So we are going to choose those 3 winners based on the questions. So Anna, go ahead.
Oh, just a second to see the question. So the question that I will support to get an NFT is a question from Phil that Trent responded a little bit earlier with, and I'm quoting Phil here, now that we're ready to adopt a data market, the supply infrastructure is in place, what is missing now in the toolkit for federated analytics learning? And Trent, walk us through the future of this. So I'm gonna vote for this question to receive an NFT. Trent, what is your choice?
I will defer to Alex for the next choice.
All right. Thank you. First, congratulations, Phil. The second winner, it's Inside Cradle. I really like this question. I'm going to read it quickly. In connection with the release of Data NFT, are there plans to integrate with other NFT sites, or will everything be presented at the Ocean site? So congratulations, Inside Cradle. And Trent, you have.
The question that I liked the most to answer was the one from Saswat of Audiolab. The question that asked, can you please highlight some of the industries that would be early adopters of Ocean Protocol? So congratulations, Saswat.
All right, so we have our 3 winners. Guys, thank you for joining. Please make sure that you are going to join the next Ocean events, and we are going to try to answer all your questions, maybe on Discord or on Telegram. So I think we can wrap it up. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank